it had been like, well, I can't say 30 years, but since I started getting conscious of, my looks, whenever that was, when I was 12, 15, you know what it is. I started realizing, in fact, my mom says, she likes to correct me and she's here. So, I better say the truth. She says when I was little, I was maybe about 3 or 4 years old. And from then on, I would say, oh, I don't want anything. I just want straight hair. I had like this little thing that I would tell mom, if I can ask God for something or like a magic wand, I'd want straight hair. So, and I think it goes back to being, curly hair stands out. It's especially when it's unruly and it's frizzy and it doesn't look, said yes. When it doesn't conform. And so you could be you could be a child, and that's really when people start noticing, like it could be your classmates, and they would, they would call me noodle head, for example. And, you don't want to be standing out. Now if somebody says you're a noodle head, I'd be like, oh, it's really, defined. And great. But when you're younger, it like hits your confidence a little bit. And so since then on, it's these layers of like insecurity that can build up. So for a long time, I just thought curly hair was not pretty. And one day I was in my, it was 2 years ago, so I was in my 30s. I don't want to give my age away. No, it's not a secret. But so my straightener broke down, and I was investing a lot of money in these products as well. And I was getting my hair chemically straightened. The first time I got pocket money from my parents, I sneakily went and started collecting it so I would get chemically straightened. Like my mom obviously was against it. She has curly hair and she's kept it curly all her life. And I think at home I was given the right guidance, but she didn't necessarily know how to style it. So it was just, put good products in your hair, and these oils that, that I make right now that's been passed on from generations. So my mom has really strong hair. All of us have good hair, like volume and stuff like that. And it's all because she would encourage these natural remedies, but just just washing itself doesn't actually help with styling. I mean, it maintains good health of hair, but when you get out, you want it to be looking pretty. So I started investing in these products. I started getting them chemically straightened. My mom, I could just see her face going from like anger to just like frustration, like she's not going to listen, just let her be, and whatever. So it was when my straightener broke down. I was going to work in the morning, and it was that moment where I was ready to straighten my hair, and then I said, I can't go to work. I just had this mental block where I was like, my hair doesn't look good, my straightener's broken, and I can't go to work. And that's when I realized for the first time in my life that you can call yourself a confident person, and you can say that, you've got good self-esteem and all of these things. But when this starts taking over your life, like your hair starts taking over your life, you've got to do something about it, because there is something that's not correct in all of this. So I reached out on Facebook to my friends. I just had this post like, help, my straightener broke down, and do you recommend any curly, products that would help with these curls? And that's when I got introduced to something called the curly girl method. And at the base of it, and like my personality is such, if I start thinking about something and it kind of grows on me and I start getting curious, then I will get a little bit obsessed with it. So if it's ideas, if it's, concepts. And so I started researching, and I realized like every night, I was watching YouTube videos, and I was reading up about it. But essentially at the base of it, it was cutting down on synthetic chemicals in your product. So specifically in the curly girl method, what the method says is that you've got to cut out sulfates because they're really drying. So that's the stuff that makes suds, which you probably, you're well aware of. And like artificial things like, well, they don't say, perfumes and synthetics, but like mineral oils, waxes, all these things that are going to be heavy, and they'll keep coating your hair to make it look shiny, but on the inside, it's not actually giving you the nourishment that you need.
Yeah, like the silicones,
Exactly, the silicones and sulfates. Yeah, it looks great for that day, but then it just slowly will like strip your hair away of the actual health. And to a point where when you don't have the sulfates, it just looks dry. The silicones, your hair looks extremely dry.
Yes.
So it's like it's a vicious cycle of, putting more chemicals to make it look better. And so you're not really doing anything for natural health of hair to really shine.
Yeah,
But
it
it's
becomes
all,
a dependence.
yeah, it becomes a
Yeah.
dependence. But also what the curly girl method does is, and this is what I was missing in life, like with my hair. Missing in life is like a big term, but this is what I was missing with hair. I was missing, I had the health of hair, which I had completely ruined because of the ironing and the straightening.
Mm, mm,
But I was missing the styling aspect. I was like, if I don't do this, then how is it going to look like it's
yeah.
not a frizz ball? And
Yeah.
it then it teaches the method like has things like you shouldn't be afraid of like conditioner if it's natural, if it's if it's got all the goodies and none of the baddies, then put in lots of it. I would put like a pea-sized conditioner. Now I take a palm-sized conditioner. I'm working it in
Mm,
because I know
mm,
my hair is like hungry and it loves it.
yeah.
And you're
I
not
love
scared of using these products to a large extent because you know that there isn't anything in there that's not water soluble. So that's like the main thing,
mm,
because we're not using suds, and so it's better for you to have something that just dissolves with water, so you can just rinse it out.
yeah,
So
that's true.
I just started getting a little bit more interested, and then I started not just cutting out sulfates and silicones. I started cutting out like perfumes and like synthetic perfumes.
Yeah.
I started looking up preservatives, and this was like my obsessive brain, starting going in overdrive. And then I went back to my roots. And, this is probably when we discussed, like, what should we be talking about today? What would be the most interesting thing? It was about how I connected back to our
It's
roots
true.
and
To
to
the
Mother Nature. Because, like you said at the beginning, everything that you need, Mother Nature's giving us. What we have done is we've just layered lots of cosmetically
like
good, but not necessarily long-term good for you kind of stuff on it, like
mm-hmm,
ingredients.
mm-hmm. Daily basis or like
What's
however
my
you
routine? Yeah,
do.
it's a good question. So it can get super complicated. And a lot of people make it complicated because it's like a game. It's like, what can I do today? And there's like 20 steps. But at the base of it is stop applying heat. Don't blow dry your hair. Don't straighten it. And it's
Mm-hmm,
really hard when you're starting off.
mm-hmm,
And in fact, this message is for people with straight hair as well. If you just want like your hair to be at its full potential. So
mm-hmm,
stop
mm-hmm,
straightening your hair, stop putting any heat. When you do that, it's really difficult because you will realize that it's extremely frizzy because there's a lot of breakage when you straighten your hair. Like, baby hair comes out because it's been
mm-hmm,
fried, and, there's a lot more breakage, and it's more, yeah, maybe it's not as healthy. And so it's like a vicious cycle. You're going to stop straightening your hair, and you're going to be like, oh my God. But then, like, the second thing in the curly girl method is patience. So stop waving your hair, have patience, is going to get better. And then the third thing is strip out all sulfates and silicones. And maybe the best place to start is start looking at the ingredients list. In every product, if there are like a million ingredients and it's called something like a magic fix, it's it's going to do X, Y, and Z. But like if it's pushing too hard, that there is stuff in there. So anything that you can have which is like sulfate, silicone free, do that. If you can't have access to it, or you don't have access to it, I personally make my own hair wash at home. So I just use chickpea flour, and I put yogurt, and I don't know if we can like share the recipe afterwards, but I've got that on my Instagram highlights as well. So I use chickpea flour, yogurt, lemon juice, and like a bit of water, and any essential oil for like a bit of fragrance. And then you just mix it up into a paste, and you just use that. So the chickpea flour is really good for the exfoliation, and yogurt is good for moisture, and lemon is good for like removing any excess oil. So you've basically got three things that you need in a shampoo. So just wash your hair with that. That's what I do.
Yeah, so can you guys hear that clearly? So they can make your own with chickpea, yogurt, essential oils,
lemon juice and essential oil. That's it. And water. So just mix it in like a pancake batter consistency. And it's going to be strange initially. You're going to be like, what is this thing? And it's not going to wash out easy, but you have to then, one of the key things is you've really got to use like your muscles, hand muscles, and you've got to rinse. Because it's like, imagine if you're trying to wash a piece of cloth with like this homemade concoction and it's got dirt on it, you're going to try and like rinse it out properly. So you've got to think of your hair in the same way. The difference, I think, and Monwave discussed this, the difference between a shampoo and these natural products is the shampoo has the foaming ingredient, which makes you feel like your hair is getting cleaner, but it's not really cleaning your hair. It's giving you a sensation. So Like even with shampoo, I think if anybody's using shampoo, you should actually focus more on using less product of shampoo and more of like rinsing out your hair, you know, like using your hand action.
Yes,
Um,
it's true.
yeah. And
Like
then like
mechanicals instead of
mechanical.
like
Yeah, exactly.
cleansing, not just the chemical cleansing, because like it's
Exactly.
eventually mechanical is harder. It's better for your hair. Like
Yeah.
the chemical cleansing, it gives you the sensation.
Exactly. And so people say, oh, you know, we're with the curly girl method, we're getting a lot of buildup, we're getting dandruff, we're getting flakes. What's happening is you're not washing it out hard enough. And so the
Mm.
product is getting left back. So, and then you're not
Mm.
exfoliating and you've got to do it with your fingers and try and not have your nails long because
Yeah.
you're going to start scratching
No
your
longer.
scalp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer for curly girls. And I know curly girls, they tend to have things like dry hair shaft is really dry, but build up on like around the roots area,
Yeah.
on scalp area. So do you think this, like the way that you do mechanically, will help with that too?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's people are, you know, because what happens when you follow the curly girl method is you're using a non-foaming, you know, cleanser,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
on top of that, you're layering products. So you're using maybe a foam, and you're using a hair gel, and you're using a hair cream. And so when you keep layering that, and then on a daily basis, like this is my day two hair, and I did not refresh, but you know, when you want it to be a little bit more refined, you're then using a little bit more gel to like activate the product. So you're
Mm,
layering all these products and you're expecting that in like a quick 3 minute wash rinse, everything is going to
mm,
come out. You know, it's
mm,
not because you've got to wash it out properly and better. So, and especially if
mm,
your hair gels and hair oils or whatever that you're using is got things like
mm.
butters and creams and they're really heavy, you know, you've got to give your hair a break. You can only take that much.
Okay. Is a No-Poo wash that I gave Sakshi the first time that we met. And basically it can be used as shampoo, conditioner, body wash. And a lot of people use it for makeup removal too. So yeah, it's just 3 ingredients plus water. Everything is grown at the farm. And so figuring that this might be good for curly girl, I gave it a bunch of people, like curly people, to try out. And I want to know, how did you use it, and
Yeah,
was it any difference? What's the effect it makes on your hair? So like
yeah,
how to properly use it, because it's not an easy product to use, and some people
yeah.
might say it's too moisturizing, it's too oily, it makes my hair sick,
Yeah,
and so yeah. So how
yeah.
did you use it?
Yeah, so what I did, I tried it a couple of ways in the way that it worked best for me. So I love that product, and every time I used it, I liked it even better because it was application. So the product itself is wonderful. What I did with it is, and I've run out, so I would wet my hair properly first. So I would do just a water rinse first, right?
Mm,
And have it like completely saturated with water. And then
mm,
I would take blobs and I would work it directly in the scalp rather than my
mhm,
hair. So I would work it in the scalp, and then in every section I would go like round and round and then make sure that it's all happened in like few sections. So it's very tempting to continue adding more product because it disappears. You know, it doesn't feel
mm,
like
mm,
there's any soap in
mm,
there. So you're like, oh, it's not working. So you add more, but actually it's got these natural essential oils. So you don't want to put too much product
mm,
in your hair. What you want is it to just distribute nicely and really take your time with the product itself. So I'd say,
mm,
focus on sections and focus on application and really rinse, and then use the water, and then use the water when the water is running. For me personally, this
mm,
has been really great. Like when the water is running, I continue doing that massaging because it's very
mm,
easy to forget that, oh, I've done my massage and I'm going to stand under the water and just enjoy my shower now.
mm,
But when the
mm.
water is running, you're really then, making sure you've got the final rinse and you're really getting the product out of your roots and it's running down your hair and it's cleaning your hair at the same time. So, and it's not just
Mm,
with the No-Poo, actually, it would be with any, we call it co-wash, conditioner wash. With
mhm.
any co-wash, that's exactly what you should be doing. So, yeah, it's very tempting to just start adding
Continue.
more. I would say that instead of adding lots of products, like taking lots and adding it in sections,
Mhm.
do it first as a first wash. And if you feel like your hair needs a little bit more, then do another rinse. Like do the
Yeah.
same thing after you've rinsed it out once, then do another, go another time. But
Mm.
there's a saturation point where if you just take too much and you keep, it's not going to make your wash quicker.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Like the thing is, a lot of people who've been using it because it doesn't have any foam, they say
Yeah.
like it doesn't clean, and like that's why they keep using more. And once
It's
they over,
good. Anything that
yeah,
foams is like extremely
yeah,
suspicious.
I know. So like, so we have a lot of questions like this, and I like, well, yes, I try to explain it, but a lot of the time it's not so understood. So it's
Yeah,
better to have someone that's like have used it with problematic hairs, like things
yeah,
that like, yeah, I am so happy that like you know how to use it and like you find ways that it applies to you best because
yeah,
that's
yeah. It's
important.
patience. It's patience. A lot of people will just give up on a product because they're like, oh, that's not working. And then they'll go to another one and they'll go to another one and then just like get really frustrated and it becomes expensive. And then I have seen people just give up on the method. They're like, you know what? It's easier for me to straighten my hair because I can't wash my hair properly and I'm getting build up and my hair doesn't look as good as like that other person's hair. And then like the iron comes out and you think, oh, it's a tragedy. It was your technique, you know?
Yeah, like it's your techniques, guys. It's not
Yeah.
just about the products. It's like
Yeah.
how you use it.
And
It's
technique
like,
comes from patience because you know you washed your hair once. You've got to wait for like 4 days before you wash your hair again. So like just have
mm,
patience and give enough
mm,
washes
mm,
to like sort it
mm.
out.